Welcome to the Back to Soul podcast. Here we will connect with our soul and discuss what the journey home looks like. Inspired by my own true spiritual awakening, I'm your host, Danyell, better known as Coach Danyell. I'm a life coach specializing in wellness and finance. I've searched, I've Googled, but I couldn't find the answers I was looking for on this journey. So hopefully listening to this podcast will help you come home, back to soul. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for weekly episodes. Welcome. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Back to Soul podcast. Welcome to episode 2. On the previous episode, we talked about letting go and purging. We discussed purging those friends and family and how painful the process is to be stripped of those old mindsets and those old beliefs. I mentioned how going through this whole awakening process really changed how I viewed the world. My purpose was discovered. Any low vibrating thoughts or decisions or discussions, they just no longer served me. No longer could they hold my attention. Here on the Back to Soul podcast, we will speak often about books and how they can help us to navigate this journey back home, back to our soul. I've partnered with Audible, who has thousands of titles to choose from, including audiobooks, podcasts, and groundbreaking originals, and just so much more. Plus, the Audible app makes things so much easier to listen to anytime and anywhere. So to continue your journey back home, back to your soul, go ahead and download the Audible app. Also, let me mention, new members try Audible free for 30 days. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Coach Danyell, CoachDanyell. On today's episode, we're diving into what is the reintroduction process and what is it like to come out of that awakening process? What's next? I've been in hermit mode almost a year. It is a isolating event. When you are stripped of those old beliefs and that old mindset, you really have to take the time to rediscover and relearn and go through a lot of healing to reach that next step. And it takes a while to actually feel comfortable stepping out, telling your story, and meeting other individuals that went through the same thing. And you get to a point where you're ready and you're eager to reconnect with the world. But at the same time, we change so much going through that process. You're attracting different people, different experiences, and just different opportunities. You have to acclimate to your new position in the world. Since it is a spiritual process, it truly affects every aspect of your being, your body, mind, and your soul. The way you eat becomes different. When it comes to food now, I truly crave wholesome things. I want to eat fruits and veggies all the time and just a small amount of meat, not much meat. But when it comes to feeling good, my body feels better when I eat wholesome foods. And if I'm eating a heavier diet, it doesn't help me connect spiritually, because you come out of this process knowing that you need to keep your vessel clean. Because if you're eating a lot of heavy foods and fast food and carbs and a lot of meat, I don't feel my best. It doesn't put me in a high vibrating position. It seems very sluggish and I'm not as motivated. I don't feel as inspired because my body feels heavy and I need to be energetic. So I'm trying to discover things that actually make me feel good. I feel better when I'm not eating a super heavy meal or when I'm not eating 5 meals a day. My body doesn't actually want that or need that much food. I can also say that my conversations are different. The things that I value has changed. conversations that I want to have, I only want to have those with certain people. And you come to realize that the topics that you want to talk about, you can't discuss that with everyone because they're not at that same level. And I feel like it's a frequency, it's a vibration. Not everyone is meeting you at that level, which that's okay. You know, we all get there in time, but you have to be reintroduced to the world and rendezvous with people that are on your level or higher. And before this process, I really thought I knew somewhat what my purpose was and what that purpose consisted of. But my viewpoint about that has also changed. So previously, my viewpoint was just to strive and make a certain amount of income, achieve a steady job with good benefits, you know, buying a house, settling down with a life partner, those regular things that people do. And honestly, I hoped for marriage, but that wasn't even a priority for me. I just wanted a life partner. Even kids, I hadn't allowed myself to even dream about being a mother because of trauma that I've dealt with as a kid and trauma that I've seen others go through. So I just didn't want to go down that road of being a mom. So I had positioned myself to just settle for a relationship, probably not in love, but with a house, a dog, and you know, that's it. Like, that would be life. So if I'm being honest, I feel like that's what most people have. It's very generic. But the entire time, I came to realize that God had a different plan for me. So I'm in a phase now where I'm coming out of this isolation, this hermit mode, with a completely different passion, a different kind of love, a different kind of joy. I've discovered a true part of my purpose is to motivate and empower and help all of you see how beautiful, intelligent, and loved you really are. And I do that by sharing my story, talking about the trauma that I've went through and how I've come to heal that trauma. As a child, I don't remember getting a ton of compliments, at least from my mom. It was just very much a childhood of trying to toughen up and show less emotions. I don't recall feeling a lot of praise as a child. And I think because of that, I've always strived for success. I've always had the mindset of being successful was going to be my way out of whatever situation, whatever childhood, whatever I was going through as a kid. I just felt like being successful would be my way out. But I never really knew what I was attempting to conquer. I didn't have a go-to profession. There was nothing specific that I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to reach success. You know, I was raised by a single mom, and that tough persona, that never letting your guard down, that was taught. That was the strength and very masculine behavior that was taught. And as humans, it's natural for us to be emotional, especially as women. But depending on your household, you may be conditioned to show no emotion and be the strong one always. So part of my healing process was breaking down those walls and breaking down all of that tough persona, that trauma that I've stored over the years, and I've had to soften. And it feels good to soften and let a lot of things go and just tune into my emotions. And if I'm angry or if I'm sad, it's okay to express that and just move on. So this new period, this coming out period, it's all about my purpose and discovering activities, people, and opportunities that are high vibrating and just feed my soul. So when you make the journey back to soul, you realize you crave unconditional love. And it's a love that's not dependent upon how hard you work. It's not dependent upon compliments or things you do for others. It's just loving unconditionally. There's no extra conditions. You just love unconditional. You crave energetic intimacy, which before I didn't know that was a thing, but it's such a beautiful thing to experience. You crave peace and you crave joy. As you listen to the Back to Soul podcast, don't forget I am a life coach and I'm here to help you succeed and excel in your everyday life. I've been in those tough situations, those situations where you need someone to talk to, you need a friend to console you. I can be that person for you. I can help to motivate you, empower you, and help you to hold accountability. You are not alone and help is here. Whether you're needing advice on budgeting, time management, accountability, staying inspired, or just someone to talk to, I'm here. Use code POSITIVITY to save 50% on your intro coaching session. My promise, if I'm not a great fit as your coach, then the session is free. Book today at CoachDanyell.com. Things that I've discovered that keep me in a high vibrating place and keep me steady on my journey are meditation. I need alone time. And it's alone time to actually deal with my emotions and the emotions of others. Because going through an isolated period, you're just healing. It's a lot of healing. And like I said, breaking down those walls. So now that you've broken down the walls, you have to deal with anything that's coming in. And you have to transmute that energy. And it's a lot of when I get home from work or get home from hanging out with others, I have to make sure I'm in a good space and let go of anything that I'm harboring from those interactions, because I don't want to hold on to any negativity. I don't want to hold on to any malice, any jealousy, any of those emotions. And I just feel like if you're hanging out with people that are in a mindset like that, sometimes that energy can linger. And you have to learn how to not take that in. So I think that's part of the process once you get out of this isolation period and you're reintroduced to emotions and feelings all over again. I also discovered that journaling is a must for me. Daily journaling, daily gratitude sessions, physical movement. And I've come to the understanding that I don't have to do a ton of movement, but I need to move every day. There needs to be some type of movement. So I make sure that I do that. And I've already talked about eating wholesome food. That's a main priority. But I need all of those things to stay in balance and stay high vibrating. That's the most important thing. I want to stay at a high frequency. So you go on this search and you're looking for activities and people that fulfill your purpose and keep you in this wonderful, blissful state. Some of my activities are just recording my podcast and things that I share on social media. That's part of this process of getting the message out there and just sharing my healing journey. I think that's the most important part. It's just getting the message out there that healing is possible, and it doesn't have to be with a therapist. I mean, of course, anyone can help you, but I did this process on my own. It was just me connecting with God and connecting with those childhood memories, and I've had to go back and heal them. And it's tough, but I survived it. So ultimately, it's me loving myself unconditionally and seeing my worth and knowing that it's beautiful. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to be notified for weekly episodes. Also, this doesn't have to be goodbye. Check out the Find Your Positivity podcast. It's available on all platforms. Daily episodes are posted for your affirmations and your intention settings of the day. See you soon.